welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another Premium Takes. I have my fellow co-hosts with me, the Four Horsemen of YouTube. Better check us out because we ride with four rings. I got my man Mac the Giant fan. Mac, tell him what's up.
What up, what up, what up? It's MacDaGiantsFan in the building.
I got Zion Zenith. Tell him what's
Yo,
good.
let's get it.
And I got the man in the basement, Jeffrey T. Jeffy, what's going on, man?
What's going on? This is NYG Jeffy T 3285. Hope everybody's having a great Sunday.
Don't mind Jeffrey. He is not kidnapped. Okay, he is in his own basement. So just in case you were wondering and you were worried, I'm just letting you know he is safe and sound in his own house. So first topic today, folks. We're going to start with the NFL. Being that training camp is on the horizon, I can almost see it. I can almost smell the fresh cut grass. Let's start with some NFL topics, okay? And one of the big topics that has come down the pipe so far is Baker effing Mayfield. BM going to CP, Carolina Panthers, okay? What do you guys think of this trade, and how do you think it plays out for them? We will start with Mac. Go.
Well, this trade is interesting, man, in so many different ways, man. Baker Mayfield going to the Carolina Panthers, where we all thought at least that Sam Darnold was probably going to start off the season, at least start the season off as a starting quarterback. However, there's also another conundrum there because they drafted a young guy out of Ole Miss named Matt Corral. And, I mean, this guy was one of the top-rated quarterbacks coming out in this past draft class, was looking like he was the potential future. And I'm not going to lie, a couple months ago here on Premium Takes, this very show, I predicted Matt Corral to not only take that job from Sam Darnold, but he was going to be Rookie of the Year. Now Baker Mayfield and got traded there. It's like he screwed that whole prediction up. I mean, I just don't see that happening now. I mean, Baker Mayfield, I would assume, will be the starting quarterback for the Carolina Panthers week one because I believe he is better than Sam Darnold, significantly better than Sam Darnold. So it kind of makes that whole quarterback room a mess now because now you got three guys that, quite frankly, are going to want the damn ball. They're going to want to fucking play. So it's interesting trade for them to send him to Carolina. I really thought he was going to end up in Seattle. I really did believe that. I just thought that was probably the best place for him. Go knock out a guy like Drew Lock. Let him still just keep learning for a couple more years. I'm pretty sure Sam Darnold in his own mind believes he should still be a starting quarterback in this league. And it's going to be an interesting situation down there in Carolina. I'm just not sure. I haven't heard any statements released from Sam Darnold since this trade's been made. But it's going to make that whole situation messy, and I'm not sure what it's going to also do for the development of Matt Corral at this point. Because let's say hypothetically Baker Mayfield goes down there and just has a lights-out season, just amazing, just numbers off the chart. Then of course Carolina's going to want to sign him in there long term, and then it's like, what's that mean for Matt Corral's career? Is this going to be kind of in limbo at this point? That's not. I mean, he didn't sign up for that. He got drafted to Carolina. But at the same time, I think he was probably feeling good about his chances of getting on the field this season when Sam Darnold was the only guy in his way. Now he's got Baker Mayfield standing in front of him. And Baker Mayfield is, let's face it, how we feel about him, he's a good enough quarterback to definitely hang on to that job for the entire season. I mean, it just is what it is.
Well, and great points there, Mac. I'll let the rest of you talk. I think the cream will rise to the top. So don't. I mean, he may not start week one, but there's a lot of time between now and then. Zion?
Yes. I like Mac's points, and I like to point out that yes, you have those two quarterbacks on the roster, but bringing in someone like Baker Mayfield is someone that I look at the Carolina Panthers like they're kind of like in the same situation as us. When you look at someone like Daniel Jones and you look at someone like Baker Mayfield, they're almost like the same person. What separates Baker Mayfield is we've seen him on a team and put the team on his back and go and win football games. Now, I don't want to hear that Baker Mayfield has a better roster than Daniel Jones. I'm not trying to bring up Daniel Jones. I'm just bringing up his name to make a point. What I'm trying to say is Baker Mayfield has shown that he can get into an NFL caliber game and lead his team to victory. So that being said, I think that Baker Mayfield will be the starter in Carolina. That was a good move by Carolina to get someone like Baker Mayfield. Me personally, I can't stand Baker Mayfield, but at the end of the day, I'm looking at it. That's a good move on Carolina, and that doesn't make that game any less easier that they have him, but that does make it a better matchup to see. Because if you look at Carolina and you look at the Giants, we're just about even, right? So good move by Carolina Panthers, and wish them nothing but the best. But at the end of the day, I also think so too. It's a bridge kind of quarterback kind of thing. So we'll see what happens with that. I'll let Jeffrey go.
You got 3 starting quarterbacks. You don't have a starting quarterback, and that's I think right now what the Carolina Panthers have. Baker Mayfield, he has shown ability in the past, but he's also a guy that has trouble staying healthy. And last year he had everybody around him, he had everything around him to succeed, and he couldn't get the job done. And he also got hurt throughout the season. He was dealing with shoulder injuries. He's a smaller guy that's been beaten around for many, many years. He's a guy that can't stay healthy. And he's going into a competition where he's not the clear-cut guy. You figure he gets traded to Carolina, you think he's going to be the guy that's going to be the starter. He's not even been given that right now. As Sam Darnold, even Matt Corral still have an opportunity to take that job from him. So I mean, I don't trust Baker Mayfield to be able to make it through the season healthy. And I think one way or another, I think we're going to see Matt Corral sometime during the season because Sam Darnold, he's just not it. And Baker Mayfield, just don't think he's going to stay healthy. So I think one way or another, Matt Corral will be starting, and I feel bad for Matt Rule because he doesn't even have a quarterback there.
Wow. Well, all good points. Now, my thought process is they're desperate, right? Obviously, we know Sam Darnold is trash, okay? And, you can put lipstick on pig doesn't make it any better than it already is, right? So getting Baker Mayfield instantly upgrades that team in my eyes. I'm not saying they're a playoff team, but now they'll have a competent quarterback running things out the gate. And a guy who when we look at that week 2 game, I'm glad Zion brought it up. It was a victory on most Giant fans' radars. Now it's going to be a little bit harder of a game because Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield are 2 different players. Mayfield will be competent. McAdoo will make him. Chris Bucco said here. Thank you, Chris. Welcome.
Good point. It is true.
Baker is going to have a chip on his shoulder again that made him good in college. He's going to surprise a lot of people. I think so too. He's pissed off at his old team, how they did him dirty. Okay, he had a bad season last year, coming off injuries and all the hype that was surrounding that team. He's coming into an organization that's influx, but has the best chance of starting because let's be honest, Sam Darnold is a backup quarterback. Probably should be flipping burgers at the local, barbecue joint in Carolina somewhere, right? Matt Corral. If I'm Matt Corral, I'm pissed off, but at the same time, now there's no pressure on me because I'm the third guy, right? I can just learn the playbook by 2 veterans. Unfortunately, veterans I don't really want to learn from, but veterans nonetheless. You can see how they operate game in and game out. And I think what this does is Giant fans need to realize something now. Where this game ain't going to be easy come week 2. Okay, it's not going to be some walk in the park. You're like, oh, we got Sam Darnold. You got a guy who's a competent player, who's brought his team to the playoffs, who went toe-to-toe with Patrick Mahomes in the playoff game, and it wasn't his fault they lost that game. Okay, so for me, I like what Carolina did there to shore it up. I'm like with Mac. I thought Seattle should have been the best destination, but here's where I will disagree with Mac: is that if he balls out, I don't think Carolina will sign him because I think Carolina will be like, you know what? He's going to command too much in the open market. Carolina's going to be like, well, we got Matt Corral here that we drafted. You can go kick rocks and go be a quarterback somewhere else. We'll take our quarterback.
Maybe franchise him, though. If he has a good season, you might think about franchising him for a year.
I don't think they would do that. It depends on how good of a season because I think Matt Rule has to make the playoffs to keep his job. If they're on the outside looking in, they need to bare minimum have 7 to 8 wins and be like, okay, we've progressed from this year to this year because they haven't done anything since he's been there. Okay. And now you have Ben McAdoo there and they got a quarterback that you think is going to do better. He has no choice and no excuse now. And I think Baker Mayfield does upgrade them, which leads me to a question that we had a couple minutes ago with another team in the South. That team from Nolans, the Bayou State, they got a quarterback that some people don't seem to like. And so for me, I'm kind of interested in what you guys think about Jameis Winston. And Olivia says Jameis is better than Baker Mayfield. I don't think so, Olivia. That's a little homerness there because if you look at their careers, Baker Mayfield made the playoffs. I'm sorry. I go with resume over loyalty. But anyways, back to Jameis Winston. Fellas?
Well,
How about
Jameis
you,
Winston, man.
Go ahead, Mac.
You said what? I
Go
was
ahead,
like, how
Mac.
about Jameis Winston, man? I mean, he's one of those kids that came out of Florida State, highly touted. He had all the tools, thought he was going to be probably one of the next greatest things since sliced bread. You know what I mean? But Jameis Winston has been a bit of a disappointment. It's been a turnover machine. It's been unreliable. He's just been really a lot
Well,
of up and down play.
let's pause. Let's pause right there, Mac, before you go any deeper into his accolades or lack thereof. Right. I just want to read off some stats for you, just so you guys can get an understanding of where Jameis Winston is. Because for me, he's had a pretty good first year. 2015, he threw for over 4,000 yards and 22 touchdowns. 2016, he threw for over 60% completion and over 4,000 yards. 2017, down year, 13 games started, 3,500 yards, 19 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. Right? Did have a lot of fumbles. Did have a lot of fumbles that year. He had 15 fumbles lost that season. Then you have 2018, where he won 11 games and he had 2,000 yards.
That's bold, Logan.
He has almost 3,000 yards, 19 touchdowns, 14 interceptions. Here's where the turnovers come in. He was in 2019 the league leader in pass attempts and passing yardage with 5,109 yards, 33 touchdowns and 30 interceptions, led the NFL. Okay. Then, of course, in New Orleans, he's traded to New Orleans and backs up Drew Brees for 2 years.
What's going on, man?
And next year he starts. He has about 1,100 yards and 14 touchdowns and 3 interceptions in the 7 games that he started, which is kind of crazy to think that he had that many touchdowns and interceptions. So I just wanted to bring that up. Mac, you can continue your point.
I mean, I get it. Yeah, he has some really good, strong numbers, but he's just been that guy that's always been that made that critical mistake at the worst possible moments. And I mean, it's just he has, like I said, he has the physical tools, but he just it hasn't all fully come together, is what I'm basically getting at with Jameis Winston, man. So we'll see. I mean, they seem to have a bit of confidence down there in New Orleans. They brought him back. They brought him back in this year. They didn't necessarily have to do that, so they must believe in something. And last year before he went down, he did have that team looking pretty damn good. They were balling.
I do think you had the same kind of take here with Logan, saying that the Saints are going to be the NFC East champs. Logan, I'm sorry, you're not the first one to say it. I think Mac was the first.
No. Logan says they're going to be in the NFC Championship game. I just said they was going to win the NFC South.
NFC Championship. I'm sorry.
I didn't take it to that extreme.
Great. Look, you're just crazy. You listen. I think Mac was on a different planet. Think Mars when he picked the New Orleans Saints, but or something that guy
had been booking.
I think they're going to be good. They're going to be pretty good this year.
Let's hear your take.
I mean, you can't deny the talent that Jameis Winston has. I mean, the guy's got a good arm. He can escape out of the pocket pretty well. He's able to hit his targets when they're there. The problem is, what is he right now? I mean, he's coming off a serious injury to his knee. And we really have no idea what this guy's going to be like coming into the season. It usually takes any type of player about a full year for recovery from an ACL tear. So that's really my biggest question with Jameis Winston. Is he's going to have that quickness and escapability? Is he going to be a little bit off target? Is he going to be a little timid on that knee? Not going to be able to plant his foot correctly and try to make those throws when the guy is open? It's going to be a little bit inaccurate. So that's the thing I'm wondering with Jameis Winston going into this season. I think he still has the tools and the traits to be a pretty solid quarterback for this team. And thankfully, they were able to get some more playmakers for him on the outside. Obviously, Kamara's not going to be there, but they have 3 wide receivers now that he can rely on. But I'm just wondering right now with Jameis Winston, is he going to be able to limit those turnovers? And what is he going to be like coming back from that ACL tear? Is he going to be a little bit timid coming into the beginning of the season? And maybe it takes a little bit while for him to get into feel more comfortable playing on that knee.
I don't want to say that he didn't do the turnovers, but he did have 14 touchdowns and 3 interceptions last year, starting 7 games. So, I mean, the turnovers have been cut down. Let's see, and people forget he had laser eye surgery.
Yes.
That kind of helped correct him. That 30 touchdown year, he said that he was seeing double vision, which, if you're seeing double, probably doesn't help when you're trying to throw the football to your teammates, because now you see maybe 2 or 3 of them as opposed to 1 receiver. So, Zion, I'd like to hear your thoughts. You're on mute.
Thank you. I just think that early on in his career, Bruce Arians forced him to just throw it downfield a lot. and that kind of messed it up. I mean, like we're talking about a guy who got over 5,000 yards passing one season. We're talking about a guy that, you know, he was forced to just go open, throw it downfield, throw it downfield, throw it downfield. And when he got over at Sean Payton, New Orleans Saints, Sean Payton's is one of the best coaches who ever coached the game of football. So it's kind of like honed your craft. And now even with this new guy that they have in there as the head coach, man, he's been there before. He's been there since like a long time. You know, I think it's like 2015 or something like that.
I like this.
That being said, it's like it's the Saints. They're like ever since Drew Brees left, like that one first kind of offense. You know what I'm saying? So it's like the Dinkin and Duncan will work with the New Orleans Saints because they have the line to make it work. They have one of the better lines in the league, and I think using that,
What's going
maybe
on,
not
Almighty?
top 5, mostly like top 10, but using that, like I think he'll be all right. Like a lot of the things that you guys say are facts. I agree with most. Jeff brought up a good point about his health. Absolutely, he's coming off of a major injury. How does that slow him down physically and mentally? But I think, start him off slow, utilize the running backs and the receivers that you have on roster. Kind of like I think that we're gonna do with our Giants. We're gonna ask Daniel Jones to get the ball out fast. You did the same with James Winston. They have the line to do it. They have the defense to hold the other opposing offense. I think he'll be all right. I don't think he's gonna get ridiculous numbers, but I can see him finishing at about 44 to 47. That's not too ridiculous in this day and age. 44, 47 is probably high, but maybe like 42 to 44, more realistically. I think he'll be all right if the team. I have the Saints going deep. I don't have them representing the NFC in any championship game, but at least divisional. If they don't get taken out in the wild card, I have them making the playoffs.
What's up, normal guy?
I think he'll be all right. I don't want to drag it on any longer. Next question.
Well, I want to look. I know that a lot of people aren't fans. I know NYG22 said, James is not good. Whatever. I'm not saying he has to be great, but he has the same offensive coordinator they had last year. He doesn't have the same head coach. He has the same offensive coordinator who helped him. Dennis Allen, who was a head coach, is now assuming the role of head coach. Okay, their offense is not going to change much from last year, where he was doing a very good job orchestrating that offense, and their defense is pretty feisty. So he has to be better than Trevor Siemian and whatever other bum they put out there last year. That slash kid, I forget what his name was. You guys know what I'm talking about. The quarterback that plays punter and running back and all that.
Taysom Hill?
Yeah, that guy. He's better than those two guys. Not saying much, but what I'm saying is, for me, last year I was impressed, even in the Giant game, that he had that team humming. Now, if they can put it together defensively, maybe they beat Tampa Bay, and maybe Logan's right. I don't believe it, but we'll see. I want to get back to a comment that Olivia made before we move on from the NFL. She said that she thinks the Buffalo Bills and the Tampa Bay the Buffalo Bills and the Chargers are going to make the playoffs, be in the AFC Championship game. What are you guys' thoughts on the Buffalo Bills? I know a lot of people riding high. I like the Buffalo Bills. Nobody circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills. But do we think they're the clear-cut number one team going into the AFC, and do we believe they're going to represent the AFC in the Super Bowl?
I do not think they are the clear cut going into the AFC, man. Like they're good. They're going to be there. They're going to be battling at the end, for sure. But the AFC is an absolutely stacked conference, man. And right now ain't nobody to clear cut anything in the AFC, man. Because Kansas City's going to have something to say about that. The Chargers are going to have something to say about that. Hell, the whole damn AFC West is going to have something to say about that. And then you still got the other squads too, man. You got the Tennessee Titans, the Colts, the
Steelers, Bengals.
Well, the Bengals ain't going nowhere. Trust me, the Bengals are for real. They are going to be poised to make another run as well.
The Ravens are going to bounce back.
That AFC is loaded.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this, okay? Because I think, like Logan thinks, Buffalo is due for a big season. When they get there, I'm rooting for them to win the Super Bowl. So who do you guys have representing the Super Bowl then? Because I know right now the media darling is the Buffalo Bills. that epic game they played against Kansas City, which they lost, by the way. But a lot of people are picking them to be the representative of the AFC. So if you don't think that they're the favorite, or at least the team going in, who do you guys believe will be representing the AFC?
Maybe it's not that far-fetched to say the Bengals. The Bengals still got a talented team right there that if they can remain healthy, they're still a big-time threat in that AFC and over on the NFL. And they just got better in the weaknesses of their team, which is the offensive line as well as the secondary. So there's no reason to think that the Bengals can repeat. And nobody keeps talking about them, but why can't the Raiders do it? The Raiders, they improved drastically as well during the offseason. And why can't Derek Carr take a step up this year? Why can't he take a step up into the MVP category with him playing with his old buddy, Devontae Adams, Hunter Renfrow becoming one of the premier slot receivers in the NFL? You still got Josh Jacobs, a better offensive line.
Prediction to be right.
I think the Raiders are going to be good. I think the Raiders are going to be a much better team than people are giving them credit. I really do. I am flying high with that Raider team because I think they're going to be a much better team. I'm telling you.
And I hear you on that one. Anybody else have any thoughts? I know.
Yeah,
I do want to be right too.
I was gonna say if you want to, man, book that, Jeff, lock it in. But me personally, I think the Raiders are gonna make it through the season, but I just think they're gonna get eliminated in the playoffs. That being said, I like your dark horse pick being the Raiders. Lock it in, bro. Put a bet in.
What's up, Alex?
With Vegas, see what happens with that.
What's up, Alex?
I honestly think on paper right now and going in, I do feel that the Buffalo Bills will be representing the AFC, but then again, such a stacked division. Broncos could be a sleeper, but I think the roster is still young. But they do have Russell Wilson, so anything can happen there. That being said,
did you talk to NYG22 on the side? Did you kind of like collabo before he came on the show? Hey man, I'm picking the Broncos. You should go on there and pick the Broncos with me. That's a good one. You guys, that's interesting.
They're good. They can. Why can't they go far? They got a good balanced roster.
We all know that whole division is good, but with that being said, that's why I'm on this Los Angeles Chargers bandwagon this season, man. I'm on that wagon, man. This team is loaded. That team is loaded on both sides of the football, man. And they got a quarterback that is absolutely the real deal. He is a bad man. You know what I mean?
What is he again? He's the what?
He is the real deal. You know what I mean? Look, Justin Herbert, man, that kid is like I said, poised to be potentially the MVP. He's my MVP prediction this year, man. I think the Chargers are going to have a hell of a year, and I will not be stunned to see them holding that trophy up at the end of the season, man.
I cannot. Wow, the Lombardi. He said the Lombardi. Wow, the Lombardi. I love the Chargers. I'm a Bills fan too, but I appreciate what they do, but I'm getting on that Mac bandwagon, man. Not only is the host of me with NFC East Roundup, but he's going outside the box. I'm loving it. I'm absolutely
loving it.
That's
what I'm saying. Like the Bills is my candidate right now on paper, but like I was gonna get into the fact that it's the AFC and the AFC is loaded, and we all know it's football, so it comes down to health at the end of the season. What is the healthiest team? We can't forget about teams like the people that have been there year after year after year, the Kansas City Chiefs, the Patrick Mahomes. Everybody forgets that. Everybody just like says, okay, Tyreek Hill is gone, and they just forget about the Chiefs. And I get it, they lost a lot more pieces, but at the end of the day, like we can't forget about the Ravens too. How do you like Lamar Jackson and the Ravens got it?
Don't sleep on that Colts team, Evo. Don't sleep on that Colts team.
I will
Colts,
say this.
exactly. It's so loaded.
If Kansas City comes out struggling like they did last year at 3-4, it's going to be tough for them to.
Miz is in the house.
Miz told me he wasn't going to come on because he was painting the house. I guess doesn't take much for him to jump on. But no, what I think that is funny is that I'm not disrespecting Kansas City by any means, but if
YG's got a point.
But if they come out and go through the struggles that they went through early on in the season, this could be
I'll address that.
Chargers never win. They were loaded when they had Philip Tomlinson, Gates. Stop playing. Chargers ain't winning jack. They haven't been in the playoffs yet with Herbert.
Those was different teams.
For 2 years, by the way, but that's okay.
And those are different teams, bro. You can't. The Chargers right now, man, they got it on both sides of the ball, man. They got bookend pass rushers. They got a solid secondary. They got decent linebackers. Their defense is going to be good. They're already legit on offense. They got good stud wide receivers. They
They were
got a good committee in the backfield. And like I said, Justin Herbert is a different level. He's a different level. I'm just saying. It just is what it is, man. This kid is doing nothing but ascending to the moon. This is what he's done in his first 2 years as a pro is out of control, man. And now they have finally put just enough right pieces around him that's going to take him over the top.
I think Max onto something. What's his name? Justin Herbert is playing on all pro or all Madden while the rest of the league is on rookie. You know what I'm saying? I can't just not disagree with those points. They are gearing up for a Super Bowl run. They were arrogant last year, and who knows what would happen if they went to the playoffs. But they were like, you know what? We don't want to settle for the tie. We want to win or whatever happened. And so the Raiders were like, well, now we're going to kick you in the gut. We were going to let you in, but now we're going to kick you in the gut. So for me, even Miz says Herbert is special, right? So
yes. That is true.
I think he is. I think people are sleeping on him. You want to sleep on a guy in the AFC West? That's the guy you're sleeping on right now. I know he has Goldilocks looking hair, but that boy can play. They got Khalil Mack. They've got the Bosa guy. They've got a ton of other defensive players. Derwin James is on there. He's getting paid as a safety. They have Keenan Allen, who people tend to forget about, one of the best in the league. Okay,
absolutely.
They have
and Mike Williams is getting better and better. Mike Williams
Watch out for Josh Palmer. Watch out for Josh Palmer as their third receiver. That kid's got some too.
I like this. I think Mac just said that, but I think you and Mac are on the same page there, Randall. But listen, man, I just want to address one more thing before we move on here to a different topic. But I like what they're saying about Denver because they got Russell Wilson. They had a good team. They are a quarterback away. The problem is when you have Las Vegas, you have Kansas City, you have the team we just mentioned, the Chargers, plus the Colts and Tennessee and a couple of those other teams in the AFC. It's going to be hard for Denver to be if Denver had Russell Wilson last year, probably a different story. Maybe they're in the playoffs. Maybe they're in the Super Bowl. Who knows? Because the teams weren't ready now. Now everyone's geared up. The arms race just ended, and now we get to see it all in place, man. Appointment television for the AFC West. Book it. They're going to be your primetime matchups for probably all your games. They're going to be a ton of flex games. I can't wait for the end of the year when every one of their games is going to be flexed. It's going to be CBS and Fox and everybody fighting just to get these teams on. So it'll be fun. But the next thing –
I was going to say real quick, too, you guys mentioned it before that you think the Chargers are gearing up for a Super Bowl run. Every team in that AFC West made moves to gear up for a Super Bowl run. The Raiders don't trade for Devontae Adams and Chandler Jones not to go for a Super Bowl run. The Broncos don't trade for Russell Wilson not to go on a Super Bowl run. And the Kansas City Chiefs, they still got a damn good roster. They're going on a Super Bowl run, too. So every single team in that division, there's no team in that division that you can automatically just count out and say they got no shot at winning it because I think every single team could come out of that division on top. Doesn't matter who it is. All those teams could be special this year with the talent they got on their roster.
The beauty of that division, man, any of those teams could come in first or from anywhere from first to last. That whole division is going to be fun to watch.
I can't wait for AFC West games.
Because I think 4 teams for the first time, a whole division is going to make the playoffs. That's what I'm going to go out on a limb and say. The entire division makes the playoffs. That would be crazy. But someone here says, somebody sell me on the Colts. I know I'm trying to move on, but I will see it here. My point here, we got Daniel Jones, so it's going to be a Super Bowl run. Yeah.
That's right.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, my God. Daniel Jones going on a Super Bowl run. I'll shave my head on this fucking podcast. My God. You know,
he's got the razor ready just when that Super Bowl run starts coming. He's got a standby in the back.
That razor's gonna get really rusty. Anyways, the Colts, real quick. I think the Colts are putting a competent QB in place. They have arguably the best running back in the league, arguably an up-and-coming receiving core that they have, and their defense is outstanding. Their offensive line is underrated. It doesn't get the credit that it deserves because obviously it's not on national television every week. But if Matt Ryan is competent, I think that team's going to make a run, and I wouldn't doubt them if they end up, in the AFC Championship game with one of the teams we mentioned.
I think real quickly that the Colts could be a team that could take advantage of all the teams in the AFC West just beating on each other when it comes to like just games, wins, and losses. I think the Colts, they are a complete team right now. They one biggest weakness you could argue was their secondary, and they shored it up by getting arguably one of the best cornerbacks in the league with Stephon Gilmore. DeForest Buckner, one of the best defensive tackles. You still got Darius Leonard. They got Alec Pierce and Jelani Woods, that passing game, along with Michael Pittman Jr., who nobody talks about, but he just had 1,000 yards last year. I mean, Taylor's the best running back in football right now. And Matt Ryan, like you just mentioned before, a good, solid veteran quarterback that they haven't had in the past couple of years, because you can't tell us that Phillip Rivers and Carson Wentz are, at that point right now, Phillip Rivers was not what Matt Ryan could still be right now, and Carson Wentz, you just don't know where he is mentally. I think Matt Ryan is the best quarterback out of those three at this present moment.
I'll agree with you there, but you can't say no veteran quarterbacks because those two guys.
You're right. I misconstrued that one. Yeah,
and I think he's the best. And I think they were a playoff team or close to it with Phil Rivers, so it wasn't like it was all bad. Guys, final thoughts on that?
What's going on, Chad?
Say, look, the Colts and the Titans are going to definitely battle it out down there in the AFC South for that division down there. But I think one thing we can all agree on. The AFC playoffs this January is going to be something fun to watch, and I recommend everybody pull a seat up for that one.
Cannot wait. It's going to be so much fun watching all those AFC teams battle it out. Let's go, Raiders. Raiders!
I don't tell much about gambling, but we might have some shekels on a couple of those games there. So anyways, we're going to do what we do in this segment and change it up a little bit and give us your favorite sports memories. We're going down memory lane. That's my little memory music as we get into the sports memory segment. Zion, you've been pretty quiet this last segment, so we will start with you. Do you have a sports memory or moment or anything that you want to share with the group?
First off, I hit your line tomorrow, Miz. Thank you. I miss you too, brother. Let's get it. Sports memories. What's one that I had that I didn't mention yet? I'm just gonna say the memory that basically, for those of you who don't know, I grew up a basketball fan, and I loved watching football, but I wasn't really into it as much as I was into basketball. So I just loved Michael Vick because he was so great. So I basically was a Falcons fan growing up. And that being said, when I finally started watching football fully, I remember when Michael Vick went to jail because of dogfighting and stuff like that. I remember trying to pick a team. I had bought a hat, and I didn't know what the team was. It was kind of like my knowledge on baseball. Like I can't tell you who plays in what city and stuff. Maybe I can, but at the end of the day, long story short, I remember turning on the TV, and it was a game with Chicago Bears versus the New York Giants. And then all I remember was this guy, it's quarterback position, the number 10 on his jersey, and he threw a nice ball over the top, and a receiver named Amari Toomer caught it and went in for the touchdown. And then ever since that game, I got super excited. I'm like, oh, I'm going to start following that team. And then that being said, that year they ended up winning the Super Bowl against the undefeated Patriots.
Against Chicago. Ruben Jones scored in that game.
The well-dressed Amani Toomer.
So don't forget about that. He always was well-dressed.
Exactly.
That being said, I'm going to use that as my favorite sports memory because that's how I fully started understanding football and started wanting to invest the time to really learn how the game operates.
Well, there you go. Came in during the glory years, people. You can't not like a team when they're beating everybody up on the schedule.
That's true.
I'm about to, right before I do step in here and give my memory, I just wanted to address this one last comment from NYG, man. Matt Ryan, I feel you. Matt Ryan's old, he's aging. He's not that same guy he was. He's not at MVP form anymore. But the one thing different about this Atlanta Falcons team he was on last year when he looked a little shook up is this Colts team has an offensive line that can keep him upright. They also got a running game that's legit. They also got some good young receivers that's going to help, that's going to make plays downfield for Matt Ryan. And they got a hell of a defense over there in Indianapolis. So he's just on a much better team. It's just a good fit for him. I get he's not MVP Matt Ryan no more, but I think this is a good situation for him, and it's a good move for the Colts if they're trying to just sneak one in there and get one while Matt Ryan still got a little left in the tank. But as for my sports memory, y'all last week y'all caught me off guard. Y'all went a little personal last week. Y'all got a little, y'all Y'all brought it close to home, Adam and Jeff. So I was like, I felt left out last week because I wasn't prepared for that. So I'm gonna take y'all back to 1991 when Mac the Giants fan was a 14-year-old
it.
freshman in high school. Let's go, baby. Saturday morning, man, playing my first varsity football game, man. Got the call on Friday. You know, I had to step in and start. I wasn't expected to start. Wasn't practicing all week as preparing to start. I was just, a little freshman backup on the team. But guy tweaked his knee. Guy in front of me tweaked his knee on a walkthrough practice on Friday, the day before the game, no less. He tweaked his knee. He wasn't able to go, so I had to step in. Okay, the school we was playing against was a school down in state in Delaware called Smyrna High. That's where a lot of my family is from there. I knew my cousin played for him, and I knew I was going to see him that day. Didn't expect to actually get in the game and play because the guy that was in front of me was pretty damn good. I wasn't, barring other than him getting hurt, I wasn't going to get on the field. But like I said, I go out there, first snap, pouring down rain, look up, and my big cousin, I seen the senior defensive end from Smyrna High, looking me right dead in my face, man. And he welcomed me to high school football, bro. So that's just and that is my memory as a 14-year-old freshman in 1991.
Wow.
My
Well,
big cousin welcomed me to varsity football.
man, he's not bashful about the age either, people. 1991 doesn't seem like a long time ago, but damn, it was a long time ago. But anyways, Jeffy, what do you got for us today? And thank you.
Well, I'm gonna go back to a football game that us New York Giants fans should all remember and have very happy moments for, and that's the divisional game against the Green Bay Packers, 2011, when we were going against the number 1 seed, Aaron Rodgers. That team was supposed to tear us apart,
15-1.
and then that guy number 88, that guy, that beast, that 6'1", over 200 pound wide receiver that decided to make those Green Bay Packers defenders his He's beep, because he went out there and he just wrecked them and he juked them and he knocked them to the ground. Just ask that safety when Hakeem Nicks bounced off to him for that long touchdown on their first play. And oh yeah, that touchdown at the end of the first half where he went up, he grabbed it, and he just had himself a hell of a first half. Hakeem Nicks. Remember that name always, how good of a player he was. But that was one of the sweetest moments. Mario Manningham taking it up the seam in the middle of the field, scoring a touchdown. Victor Cruz getting him some. Ahmad Bradshaw, the play before that Knicks game, when he could have ran out of bounds, he takes it, jukes right up the field, getting right by the out-of-bounds line with about 6 seconds to spare. So Eli Manning had enough time to throw that ball in the end zone. And then the Giants just proceeded to send the Packers home in their second half on our way to San Francisco on a glorious victory that night in Green Bay. Oh, what a great moment. New York Giants, let's go.
They
Hakeem Nicks.
Double-checked Green Bay back to Wisconsin. Okay, so that was a great memory, Jeff. I have one that is also a Giant-related one, and that is 2005. Let me set the scene for you. It's about 4 p.m. in East Rutherford, New Jersey, and the Denver Broncos are coming to town.
I know where you're going.
And here I am, a young 21-year-old hanging out with a family friend, decided to get tickets to the game. Ooh, a game which I will never forget. I was up in the nosebleed section. Here we go. The Denver Broncos are coming. We're leading the AFC. We're a big dog team at that point. Had Jake Plummer as their quarterback. They're moving up and down the field. All of a sudden, the Giants start to inch their way back in. Big pass to Jeremy Shockey. Big pass to Ike Hilliard. And next thing you know, the Giants have the ball with a chance to win the game. With a chance to win the game. And what does number 10 do? Number 10, who showed us in 2004 that he can change the play up again at the line of scrimmage against the Cowboys to a run play. You saw a glimpse there, a flash, this word that everyone uses, a flash. No, what we saw in 2005 was the coming of age of Eli Manning. Okay, in that game, he went downfield within 2 minutes and brought them back on a beautiful play to Amani Toomer as he drifts left. There it is. Floats one into the back of the end zone where the well-dressed Amani Toomer comes out of nowhere, sneaks it out of the sky. Touchdown, Giants. Michael Strahan's jumping off the bench. We're winning the game. Eli Manning's getting mobbed. I turn to my friend, high five him, and say, oh my God, what did I just witness? I just witnessed a Manning comeback, one of many, the start of many. The legend of Eli Manning continued. It was born that night. I just wanted to give you that, set that scene. I was at that game. I'll never forget it. It was like Toomer in 98. He did it again in 2005 to the Denver Broncos, and boom, we were on our way.
That offense was so much fun with
11
Barber, Toomer, Burris, and Shockey. Those four guys were so unstoppable. That offensive line was coming together. I thought that team was going to go a lot farther. That team was fun to watch in 2005. The defense was a little.
2005 and this one have in common? Nothing, because it's more like the 1997 team where we went from Dan Reeves, disciplinarian or a coach, to then Jim Fossil, a guy who came in, was supposed to redo a quarterback from Duke, as he made those quarterbacks from Arizona look good. That's what this reminds me of. 2005.
Yeah, I think that was the year we signed Burris too, that big free agent deal, as well as Pierce and McKenzie.
McKenzie and Pierce. That was the start of the foundation.
All three of them were absolutely fantastic signings at the end of the day. They all helped us win a Super Bowl.
Probably some of the greatest Giants we've seen. But that's sports memory. Probably one of the ones we'll have tonight. If we can circle back to it, we will. Now we will get into the MLB, the mid-season roundup with my two guys, Jeff and Mac. They're going to bring you all the MLB news. As we know right now, the Yankees are playing the Red Sox and absolutely destroying that team and destroying the league. We know the Yankees may be in the World Series, but they'll give you the lowdown of the MLB. Fellas?
Take it away, Jeff. You can start it off.
Well, first off, tough loss today by the New York Mets in 10. Walker had a hell of a game pitching today, 7 scoreless. Marte and McCann go down with injuries yesterday. Just came out today that McCann is now on the injured list again. Luckily, Marte was able to avoid it, but this team just could not get a hit off the Florida pitching, the Miami pitching, which just makes you shake your head, because the Atlanta Braves and the Philadelphia Phillies are starting to breathe down the New York Mets' neck. But the New York Mets
are doing more than breathing down their neck.
No, they're like literally jumping on our back. They're jumping on our back right now. Exactly. They're on our back right now, waiting to leapfrog us into first place. But the New York Mets, they still have themselves a pretty good season. Congratulations to the 4 New York Mets that made the All-Star team today: Edwin Diaz, Jeff McNeil, Starling Marte, and of course the polar bear Pete Alonso. All 4 of them deserve it to be there. Well, going to represent the New York Mets well, but this team needs help. They need help in that bullpen. They need help in that lineup, especially when you can't score runs against a Miami Marlins team that is not that good. They might even need themselves another starting pitcher right now, depending on how these guys are going to continue to go. If you want a little bit of insurance in case DeGrom or Scherzer aren't 100% back, but the New York Mets have themselves a really nice first half of the season. Maybe not a lot of us thought they were going to be in the position they are right now in first place at the midpoint, but at the same time, I want to see this team acquire some acquisitions. They need to add another bat, whether it's Trey Mancini, whether it's Nelson Cruz, whoever it is. Get yourself another big bat to add to this lineup, or dip into that farm system. Bring in a Mark Vientos. Bring up a Brendan Beatty. Bring up even that big guy, the catcher, the young stud, Francisco Alvarez, especially with McCann on the injured list right now. Get yourself some offensive help for this New York Mets team, because right now you don't have a third baseman that can hit, because Eduardo Escobar, he had a couple of nice games, but he's giving them nothing right now. Dominic Smith, you might as well just pencil him in for 0 for 4 with a couple of strikeouts. Same thing with J.D. Davis. He's giving them nothing. Brandon Nemo's been solid, but who knows when Starling Marte's come back to slot up.
J.D. Davis had a hell of a game the other night.
One game though, Mac. One game. I need more than one game from this guy. He's been a flop so far this year. This guy has not come through like the Mets were hoping he could, and they need another. They definitely need at least a DH or a third baseman added to this lineup because they're getting nothing right now from those positions. Take it away.
I mean, he's been up and down, but he's had some moments this season. He's one of those guys that maybe needs to get his rhythm a little bit more, and by not being an everyday player anymore, I think that could be what's affecting him the most. Because I mean, like, he came up huge the other night. I mean, with a lot of big hits, he had like 4 or 5 RBIs. I mean, he was the key reason we won the game. What was it, Friday night? I think it was. So, I mean, I'm not going to tell you now, JD Davis, but right now, but I see how you feel.
I will. I think Davis has not been good at all.
I understand how you feel. You would like to get a little bit more out of him, but I think he just would be a lot better if he had a little more, got to play a little bit more.
That's fair.
But I just also, you're right. I agree with everything you said. At this point now, I'm starting to think we may indeed need another starting pitcher for real. And you already know how I feel about the bullpen. I'm not going to keep beating that dead horse. You know what I mean? I've already voiced my opinion about this Mets bullpen. It is atrocious to me. It's starting to just seems like it keeps getting worse and worse and worse. I mean, our starters have been pretty solid. They just can't stay healthy. And when when it's time to pass that torch in the game and you bring somebody out the bullpen, it's like you got to just hope they don't blow the damn game. So and you're right. At this point, you're right, Jeff. We do need another consistent bat in this lineup, man. You're absolutely right about that. It's just not working out fully. We're kind of folding in big spots right now. To be quite frank, we're clinging on to like about maybe a 1.5, 2 game lead right now in the East. But let's face it, the Braves have been a much better baseball team this past month of this season than the Mets have been. I mean, it just is what it is. They have closed that gap all the way, man. And I mean, it was at a point where we were damn near double digits games ahead of the Braves, and now they have completely closed that gap. They're I believe only about 1.5, 2 games back. So the Mets, I'm just hoping for not the same disaster we've been seeing over the last couple of years doesn't come back to bite us in the ass with the Mets just completely just folding in the second half of the season. But right now it's looking pretty shaky, man. And this team, like you said, McCann's down again. I mean, he's not an all-star catcher, but he's the best damn catcher we got on this team. I mean, Nito goes out there and, gives it his all, but he's not better than McCann. It just is what it is. McCann is definitely the better catcher on the roster, a better defensive catcher at least, yeah. And it's just a tough break for him, man. I don't know what's going on with this guy this year. It just keeps he has some really bad luck, man. Back on the injury list again. And maybe caught a break with Marte day to day, but also it's been one little issue after another with him as well, man. I mean, hats off to him making the All-Star team. He definitely deserves that. Flying squirrel, no props to him. Pete Alonso, he was going to be there. Diaz has definitely been money as a closer this season. But I want to go back all the way back up in this chat, man, where can't remember who it was now offhand who said it. But yeah, I believe Lindor. It's tough. I mean, I want to say he's got snubbed, but it's tough because I can't remember who it was that put that comment up there. Oh, there, Almighty Finesse. Yeah, I believe he's having a great first half of the season. Definitely far better than last year. And this year he appears to be earning that big contract the Mets gave him last year. And yet he still comes up short, doesn't make the All-Star game. And I think only thing I can chalk it up to is that there are just a lot of fucking good shortstops in baseball, man.
There are.
There just is.
And Matt, do you think that the problem is that the Mets are too busy relying and waiting for Jacob deGrom to get back? They think deGrom's going to solve all their problems? Well, it seems that deGrom's the one thing that's making Mets fans feel comfortable is that number 48 is on his way back and he's going to save the day. He's not saving that lineup and that bullpen.
You'd like to hope so, but at the same time, I mean, you can put his bat back in the lineup if you ask me, because DeGrom is one of the best hitting pitchers in baseball. So as far as I'm concerned, you can do that. But anyway, like I said, hope they're not really relying solely on DeGrom. I mean, he hasn't played a game all season. He's been looking good in his rehab stint right now in the minors right now. And after the All-Star break, maybe he'll be ready to go, man. But we got to see. And as far as being snubbed, man, Pete Alonso obviously did make this All-Star game, but we all know Pete Alonso should definitely be in that starting lineup. Maybe not, and
100%.
maybe not necessarily the first baseman. I can give you not putting him as a starting first baseman because we know Pete Alonso is not the greatest defensive first baseman. That's not definitely his strong point of his game. But come on, how is he not the starting designated hitter for the National League? How is that even possible?
I would even argue McNeil should be a starter too.
I get it. Bryce Harper, he's great too, but Pete Alonso's numbers are superior to Bryce Harper's numbers. How is Pete Alonso not at least the starting designated hitter for the National League baseball, for the National
Leading
League
the league in
All-Star team?
RBIs. Leading the league
He
in
should
RBIs.
absolutely
He's not a starter.
be starting in this game, and he probably still will because we don't know if Bryce Harper's going to be able to go in the All-Star game or not. It's likely he won't, but we'll see. I mean, we'll see. But Pete Alonso should have been voted in as a starter. So there's no love for New York when it comes to those kind of things. But they still got it right. Got 4 guys in there that definitely deserved it. And you can make a case that Lindor maybe should have got a call up too for the All-Star game. But it is what it is, man.
Jeff McNeil should be an all-star starter too because of Ozzie Albies was selected and he's not even playing. He's been hurt this whole time. And Jeff McNeil deserves to be there. The guy's just a hitting machine. He literally every single second the guy's on base with clutch hits all the time. And this guy's not one of a possible representative as your starter at second base. I mean, this guy's been unbelievable too. The 2 guys, the squirrel and the polar bear. Both these guys should be all-star starters. There's no reason why you're the best team in the National League for the entire season pretty much, and you don't have anybody that starts as all-star starters. It makes no sense. But Alonso and McNeil should both be starters. But at least they were able to make it, thank the Lord.
Fantastic updates, fellas.
Thank
on
you.
the season and what's going on in the All-Star and some of the All-Star snubs. I love your takes. This is why we call premium takes, because you guys are giving us analytic views of why guys should not be there. You're not just saying it out of popularity. You're giving reasons to why and why they should be replaced. That's why we do this. That's why we're the 4 horsemen of YouTube. That's why we give you premium takes. This show right here is fire. My 3 guys that are host with me, sub up to them. Make sure you sub up to all these great content creators, MacDaGiantsFan, NYG, Jeffy3285, and Zion Zenith. With that being said, we are going to move on to the next topic, fellas, and we're going to change it up for you fans in the chat. We're going to do something a little non-sports related, something that
Yankee stuff.
No Yankee stuff today. We don't need. Listen, the Yankees are in a dogfight right now, and we know that they're the best team in baseball. But Boston, and
Miz is going to be talking about that the whole time.
Boston
reveling
and
in that.
Great rivalry. I'm actually going to the game next Saturday. So I will be there. I will give you guys some live when we do the show on Sunday, an actual live feel of how Yankee Stadium was. We're going to go see I forget a Monument Park out there. So it should be a lot of fun next week. So tune in to Premium Takes because I will give you my update from Yankee Stadium with that series going on there. So that will be some fun stuff that we do. We can go over the game, the atmosphere, and all that. But like I said, the Yankees are doing well. I love Aaron Judge. He's my guy. They're doing pretty well. I know they're struggling right now, but we'll see. I mean, you don't need to win every game, right? And it's 165 games. It's a marathon, not a sprint. But as I was saying before as we move on, we're going to do something funny, something different, something I like to call favorite funny movie segment. And being that it's the summertime and there's not a lot going on in sports, instead of boring you with fake-ass talk about a sport we may not know, we'll give you some stuff that we do know. Funny movies. A lot of these guys here on my channel are funny guys, as you saw with some sports memories. So I can't wait to hear some of your funny movies. Zion, if you're done taking your nap, you're more than welcome to join us back on the show. I don't know. Hopefully it's doing something productive. But with that being said, let's see what the guys have in store. Jeff, what is one of your funny movies, or name maybe 1 or 2 that are your favorites?
There's so many, because if you grew up in the 90s, I mean, there were funny movies all during down that decade. I mean, the 90s were so full of so many good comedies. I mean, I could name like 5 or 10 right off the top of my head. I got 3 in mind that are always going to be close to my heart as all-time favorite comedies. and that's the legendary Tommy Boy. How can you not have a smile on your face every time you see Tommy Boy on your screen? That was one of the best movies you could ever see. Rest in peace to one of the greatest comedians out there, Chris Farley. That guy, all he had to do was just scream, just say one random thing, and you would be dying out of your seat. David Spade, awesome co-host. The movie was just absolutely super, just fantastic. Fat guy in a little coat. Fat guy in a little coat.
There you go. And it rips.
Tommy Wingy. I mean, how could you not just quote like there's so many when there's a movie and you could just quote a bunch of different lines from there, you know the movie is an all-time great. So I mean, Tommy Boy, that's the first movie that always comes to my mind when I think of all-time great comedies. There's a couple of other ones. Adam Sandler, two of his greatest comedies, Billy Madison. I mean, come on, that's another one. How could you not love Billy freaking Madison?
We can come back to a movie. We'll do a 2-round segment on this. We'll give you one movie each, and then we'll go.
I can't help it. I got caught in the moment. I mean, talk about 90s movies, 90s comedies.
I just don't want anyone to. You can have as many movies as you want. We could be here all night talking about funny comedy movies.
I was gonna say, I can go all night with that.
I can go all night with this too.
But this is why I thought it was great. Look at the chat; it's blowing up. It is exploding with different movies.
That's a
Zion,
good one too.
if you are awake there, you can give us one of your movies.
All right, I'm just gonna give you can I give you 10?
You can give me.
So
You
go
can
back
give
to
me
the
5,
90s.
but this is only a 2-hour show. So
all right, I'm gonna give you one from the 90s, one from. Okay, I'm gonna give you one 90s, one guy I really like, and then one movie I really like. That's fair, right? Okay, so 90s Ace Ventura's 1 and 2. I love Ace Ventura's 1 and 2. Actor, you pick any one of his movies, Seth Rogen, any one of his movies will do. And in the movie I absolutely love, I can watch no matter, I can watch it right now. It's probably Tropic Thunder.
That was funny too.
Yeah. All right.
Mac, I know you're loaded. I know I can see it right now. Your brain.
I mean, there's so many. So many. See,
it's hard.
In Christmas time, movies. You can watch Elf. I'm sorry.
Hey, it's Max time now. It's Max time.
I love funny movies, so it's just so many I could think of. But you know me, ain't nobody stepped into them 80s yet, so I'll take it back in there. I'll take it back. And I got to go with my guys, man. It was a all-star cast of comedians, man. Harlem Nights, Eddie Murphy, Arsenio Hall, Red Fox. List goes on and on. There's so many great comedians in that movie, man. And it was just hilarious. It was just absolutely hilarious. And then I'm gonna just stay on that Eddie Murphy theme right now and take it into the 90s with him and Martin Lawrence in Life. I can tell you,
what a great movie!
That whole movie, line for line, from the beginning to the end. I mean, it's just absolutely. Every time I watch it, it's absolutely hysterical. Life, I just can't get enough of that. And then if I come into the 2000s, man, there's still so many, man. But I'll just pick one that's another one that just cracks me up every time I watch it, no matter what. And it's Step Brothers. I don't give a damn.
Yes.
Every time I watch Step Brothers, I'm going to be on the floor rolling. So, I mean,
Prestige so many... worldwide. Why?
You just can't.
But Mom, it's Shark Week.
This is why I love this show and I love you guys, because you're bringing up some great.
Don't touch my drum set.
And we'll do another round of this in a little bit, to get some more movies, because I think this is a fun segment.
I got 3 more good ones
that we can do. But here's mine, or maybe my 2. I love a movie that's been coming on. I saw it the other night. Wedding Crashers, one of my all-time favorite.
That was good too.
Favorite comedies. When it comes on, I am quoting it from start to finish. You motorboat son of Mitchell, sailor you. You know what I mean? There's so many classic lines. What do you think? You have problems? Try getting jacked off under the table in front of the whole family. Then you have problems, jackass. I mean, those quotes are phenomenal. And I know kids are watching, probably shouldn't have said all that, but hey, you know what? We're here and we're having fun. This is funny movie.
Yo, Rachel McAdams is so hot in that movie.
Well, thank you. You can keep it in the pants now.
I don't care. It is what it is. I'm
pretty hot in that movie.
Rachel McAdams is beautiful in that movie. She's also quite good looking in The Notebook, but we're talking about funny movies.
I must have been a big fan of The Notebook.
Another funny movie that I love that people forget is Talladega Nights. is one of my
Talladega
favorite,
Nights,
Oh,
favorite
chicken
Sweet
baby.
movies
Lord,
of
baby
all
Jesus.
time. Talladega Nights. Ricky Bobby, you don't stab me in the knee with that knife. I mean, Ricky Bobby was great.
Oh
I mean,
man, he's in his
my
underwear
God.
again.
Elijah Barricone, I don't always like him, but he was phenomenal in that
He
film.
absolutely was.
Absolutely the best villain. And those
He's running
kids,
around thinking he's on
those kids,
fire.
if my kids end up saying I'm going to come at you like a spider monkey, man, they better be ready to throw down because it's going to be one hell of a time. But that is one of my favorite movies. But guys, thanks.
Michael Clark Duncan was awesome in that too. He was
Ready
hilarious in that film.
Finally, NYG 22. We agree on something today. You know, you know.
Super Troopers.
Yes,
That's my shit.
yes, the one below. Yes.
So let's
Super
meow to the
Troopers.
next segment, right? Meow. Okay. So we will get into
Okay,
everything
meow.
right now with the NBA and its free agency. It's been going on. Obviously, Jeff and I have been watching it, and some news and notes, updates. We'll give it to our guy, our resident NBA expert, and Jeff. Jeff, take it away. Some of the things you've seen and heard, and things that we can comment on. Jeff,
I'm just doing this face right now because it's just, and when I think of NBA free agency, I just get mad because of our stupid team and what they're doing to us right now. They're just like letting us sit here like a bunch of idiots. Let's all laugh at the Nets fans. They're in limbo right now because who knows what's Katie and Kevin and Kyrie. Are they going to get traded or not? Let's torture that fan base. No, I mean, I think the NBA free agency's had some pretty interesting deals. I think one of the best deals that occurred so far in free agency has actually been the ex-Brooklyn Net, Bruce Brown, heading over to Denver. I think he's a good piece for that team who's looking for like a good solid 3-and-D guy that can also, provide some scoring punch, 3-point shooting. I think he's a good addition. Denver, I think, has done a pretty solid job rebuilding their squad. I mean, today, Danilo Gallinari just signed a 2-year, $13 million deal to add some more scoring punch to that Boston bench, along with they got Brogdon. I mean, did anybody expect Rudy Gobert to head over to Minnesota this offseason? I mean, that was a blindsided trade right there when you think that they're going to bring in another big-time center to already pair up with already one of the best centers in the NFL. Or the NBA. I got the NFL still in my mind. The NBA right now with Karl Anthony Towns and Anthony Edwards. I mean, how are you going to have those three guys work together in that team? You still has D'Angelo Russell. So, I mean, that's what is an interesting trade as well. Donovan Mitchell seems like he's going to be sticking it out. The Jazz seem like they want to build around that team, as well as what the biggest question right now. I think the Knicks have actually done a pretty solid job too. So Knicks fans, I'm going to give you your kudos. I think you've actually made some pretty solid, not spectacular, but solid moves. I like the Mitchell Robinson move. Re-signing right now with them for about 4 years. I think when he's healthy, he's a good defensive center, provides some rebound. He's just got to improve on his scoring. Brunson, don't expect him to be a superstar. He's a guy that's going to go in there, get you some good, 17, 18, 19 points per game, but he's not going to go out there and he's going to light the world on fire. He's going to be a solid player. You just got to hope that Barrett's going to be able to improve. I mean, we were talking about this last week. Why is the Pelicans giving Zion Williamson that huge of a deal? I understand the upside. I understand that he's got all the
number one overall.
But is he really a number one worthy draft pick for $231+ million right now? I really question that deal.
Listen,
Go ahead.
I'm not saying you're wrong, but I can't be mad for a guy cashing in when the time is right to cash in.
No, I'm not blaming him.
Everyone's like, oh, they're paying in this many deals. Well, that's because that's the deal they have on the table. It's like next year, if the Giants go into Daniel Jones, you have to pay him. If he wants $30 million a year, that's what they're going to have to pay him because that's what the market rate is. So I can't be necessarily mad, and I understand why they're doing it. Would you do it, Jeff? Probably not.
Oh, of course. If I had the chance to do it, I'm doing it 100%. I just want to know if this guy's going to be healthy because he missed an entire season pretty much last year, and it's very risky to, after a guy that had trouble staying healthy, to just shell out $231 million thinking that he's going to be able to just stay healthy for the entire next year and going forward. I mean, that's a big risk to take. I mean, kudos to the Pelicans if he actually is able to stay healthy. But, I mean, it's just very –
I mean, the Pelicans have been –
you're walking a fine line with that.
But the Pelicans have been down this road before with Anthony Davis, right? So,
yeah, you're right.
They've had these issues before, and I think they're desperate. They don't want to lose the guys. And the NBA is notorious for doing this, okay? Yeah. Let's be honest. They're notorious for signing players that never play or injured. I mean, the Knicks have done it. And that's – I mean, they did this year. So we'll see what happens. Do I agree giving a guy $200 million? No, but at the end of the day, if if his play, let me put it this way: if he was good while he was in there, but the only thing holding him back is injuries, that's when you pay somebody. Like
Yeah.
Barkley is a prime example. You know that guy is good, so no matter what, you might have to back up the Brinks truck for that guy. Even if he was injured, right? So Pelicans don't have really a way of going. They need a franchise player, so I understand why they're doing what they're doing.
Speaking of franchise players, like as a Nets fan, I just feel how can you honestly feel right now as a Nets fan as we're sitting here? Well, we're pretty much like we're whisking in the wind as a fan base right now, just waiting to see when this Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving trades are actually going to happen, if they do happen. Because Lowe's just tweeted out a couple of days ago saying that the Nets are trying to go out there and get the quote-unquote greatest return ever, which is probably like 2 or 3 good young all-star level type players and 4 or 5 first-round picks for KD. And it seems like the Nets and the Lakers are doing some posturing right now in terms of trade talks with them, is that the Nets are trying to get a first-round pick from the Lakers either in 2027 or 2029, along with Russell Westbrook. So it's not just a straight-up one-for-one, and the Nets might be trying to tie Joe Harris's contract with Kyrie Irving in order to bring back a first-round pick and Russell Westbrook. So the Nets are right now in such limbo right now. I like the T.J. Warren sign because I think if he can stay healthy, that guy does have some upside, and he did prove it in the bubble. He can provide some scoring for this team. If he's going to be that guy, they might have to rely on, which is scary. I mean, I think they have some good young players right now on the team that can. I'll finish in a second, but like I think there's some young players that they've showed in the summer league. I like Cam Thomas, Deron Sharp, David Duke, as well as Kessler Edwards. I think there's some building blocks as well. But the Nets are right now tied up to what is going to happen with Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, and I want them to get the biggest haul you can get. Anything possible if you're going to trade these guys. Adam, go ahead.
Well, first off, Randall the Handle Sports Talk. Randy, thank you so much for dropping that little nugget. Zion's played 85 games in the NBA, 61 year one and 24 this year, but it averaged 25 and 60% field goal percentage and 7 rebounds and 3 assists. That's why you pay the man. But for the Nets, I don't think they're trading these guys. And here's my logic, right? The longer this drags out, the less likely the trade becomes. Because if they really wanted him in LA, they would have been there. They would move heaven and earth to get these guys there. And the Nets asking for a king's ransom tells me they don't really want to trade him. It's almost like, and I hate to use the Giants again, and we'll get into them in a little bit, Joe Shane dropping the nugget of Kadarius Toney, right? They wanted a king's ransom, but if somebody came in, or even Barkley, if somebody came in and said, we'll give you this many picks and blows them away, that's where you're going to see that type of trade. I don't think it's going to happen, which means the net fans, if it does happen, I hope, Jeff, we get a lot in return. Actual sustainable players. Don't get players that in 3 years you're going to turn around and trade again because you're in love with the next free agent. Right? Because that's essentially what was happening. They were like, oh, we're in love with KD and Kyrie, and we're going to back the Brinks truck up for both of them. 3 years later, guess what? They're pivoting on those guys. Now,
I jump in real quick about this Nets thing while you're still in the Nets?
Well, I'm balanced. Like I said at the beginning of the show, I need a balance, but I'll be back hopefully before you guys end.
All right, good luck, man. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you, guys.
Good luck, man.
Awesome.
All right, here's the issue.